Hey, welcome back to We Be Kids again. My name's Danny, I'm one of the founders at We Be Kids. I'm an outdoor educator and a storyteller, and I've come up into the woods today on this beautiful late autumn day to tell you a story. There's definitely a chill in the air. We are getting towards winter. So I thought I'd tell you a little winter tale. And this folk tale is from the Ukraine, and it's called The Mitten. And this story happened on a cold winter's day. It was late in the afternoon when the sun had disappeared. The sky was turning dark and you could just begin to see the first sight of stars. An elderly man and his dog were walking through the forest, returning from the market where they'd been to buy goods because there was a great storm on the way. The man was dressed in a big, thick coat, padded trousers, snowshoes, thick mittens, and sturdy boots. And as he trudged through the snow, he looked down and he noticed that his boot had come untied. He bent down and took off his mittens and tied up his boot. But as he was doing that, his dog shot off. He grabbed his mittens and he ran off through the woods in pursuit of the dog. But what he didn't realise is that when he went to grab his mittens, he actually missed one of them. And this one mitten lay on the soft, cold, wet snow. And the night came in. And out of the forest, from behind a tree, came a little mouse, shivering from the cold, looking for somewhere warm to huddle down. And as it came along, it spotted the mitten with its lovely waterproof outing and its soft furry inner. The mouse thought, this would make a great place to live. And without any hesitation, it took a run up, it leapt and it jumped straight into the mitten. And there it curled up in a ball and it fell fast asleep. But the next morning, the mouse woke to a sound outside. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. And the mouse crawled to the edge and poked its head out and looked out, and there was a frog. And the frog looked up and said, "Oh, mouse, it is so cold. I am looking for somewhere nice and cosy and warm to live. Who lives in this mitten?" And the mouse says, "I do." And the frog replied, "Is it possible to maybe get in and share with you?" And the mouse said, "Of course it is, frog. Hop on in, it's lovely and cosy in here." And the frog hopped in. And together they snuggled in. It was even warmer now than before. But it wasn't long before they heard other footsteps outside. Not a ribbit or a scurry, but a hop. Hop, hop, hoppity hop, 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 hoppity hop. They both poked their heads out, and there in the snow was a rabbit. The rabbit looked up and said, "Oh, mouse and frog, it is so cold. I am looking for somewhere to spend the winter. This mitten looks lovely. Who lives here?" And the mouse and the frog together said, "Well, we do." And the rabbit said, "Is there room in there for me as well?" And the mouse and the frog said yes. And the rabbit hopped on up. It was a bit of a struggle, but it got its head in and then its front paws and then its back legs. And finally its little tail went into the mitten. And together they were all cosy and warm. But it wasn't long until other footsteps came along. They popped their head out of the mitten, and there, emerging from the trees, was the fox. And the fox crept over to the mitten, and it said, "Hello, little friends. Oh, I am looking for somewhere cosy to hunker down for the winter. This mitten looks lovely. Who lives here?" And all together, the mouse and the frog and the rabbit all said, "We do." And the fox replied, "Is there room in there for me?" And the mouse and the frog and the rabbit all said, "Yes, of course there is, fox. Come on in." And the fox joined them inside the mitten. And it wasn't long before they heard more footsteps outside. They looked out, and there in the shadows was a great wolf. And the wolf came closer and closer and sniffed. And then it saw the mitten. And out of the mitten popped the heads of the mouse, the frog, the rabbit and the fox. And the wolf said, "Oh, I am looking for somewhere warm to hunker down for the winter. Is there room in there for me?" And all together, the four creatures said, "Yes, of course there is, wolf. Come on in." And somehow the wolf managed to join them all in this single mitten. Oh, they were very cosy and they were very warm. But it wasn't long before they heard footsteps. They looked out, and there was a great wild boar. And the wild boar was sniffing around, looking for food, when it sniffed right into the mitten. And the wild boar said, "Oh, it looks cosy and warm in there. Is there room for me?" And all of the creatures looked at each other. And they said, "Yes, of course there is. Come on in." And somehow, don't ask me how, but the wild boar joined the wolf and the fox and the rabbit and the frog and the mouse inside the mitten. But the story doesn't end there. You see, the next day, another creature came through the forest. The big grizzly bear with its big snout and its sharp teeth. And it came through and it sniffed and it was hungry and it was looking for a place to stay. And it saw the mitten there on the floor, bulging at the seams. It called down, it said, "Is there anybody in the mitten?" And first of all, the head of the mouse popped out. Then the frog, then the rabbit, then the fox, then the wolf, then the boar. And the bear said, "It looks very cosy in there. I'm looking for somewhere to spend the winter. Is there room for me?" And all together, all of the creatures in the mitten said, "Yes, we'll make room for you, great grizzly bear. Come on in." And the grizzly bear went head first and snuggled its way right into the mitten amongst all of the other creatures. And in the meantime, back at the elderly man's cottage, he was making some soup and tidying away. He hung up his coat, he hung up his trousers, and he went to hang up his mittens. And as he went to hang up his mittens, he realised that he only had one. And immediately he knew that he must have left the other in the forest when he went down to tie his boot. So he put all of his clothes back on, he got the dog, and together they headed out of the door in search of the mitten. And it didn't take them long before they arrived back in the spot. And the dog spotted the mitten first. He saw it moving, bulging at the seams. The dog ran ahead barking, "Woof, woof, 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 woof." And out of the mitten hopped the mouse, the frog, the rabbit, the fox, the wolf, the boar. and the bear. And all together they scurried off into the woods. The man came along, he picked up the mitten, he popped it on his hand, and that is the end of the story. So I hope you enjoyed that fun little winter tale, a simple story called The Mitten. And you've heard me say before that all great stories have a great lesson or a great meaning. And for me, the meaning in that story is that no matter how different we are, if we welcome people with an open heart, anything is possible. When I first heard that story, I was sure that the fox would eat the rabbit, and the wolf would eat the fox, and the bear would eat the boar. But it just goes to show that we can all be surprised by the love and kindness of others. So thank you for stopping by for this lovely little winter tale. You can find many more resources at weebekids.net. Yoga, nature activities, nature crafts, nearly 80 stories just like this one. So head on over there, immerse yourself in it, and enjoy your outdoor adventures. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you again sometime soon. Bye.